last night I finished this book that I've been reading that I bought like back during Comic-Con, and I read through half of it, and then I forgot about reading it, and then so I read half of it again, and then I finished it last night. But it took me like a few weeks just to finish the book. Life. It's called William, and then basically it's about this. It's about this guy who's like an agoraphobe. He's married. His wife is pregnant, and he is like an engineer in robotics, and he built a robot in his attic. And then that robot is starting to form its own, thoughts. Now it's starting to see the world. It's kind of like, it became like a little Ultron, a little mini Ultron for a moment. With like the crazy thing to me was the twist. Again, because like in the story, the wife had friends over, and one of the friends, his name is Davis. There's Lily, Davis, and Henry. Henry's the main character. Davis was trying to tell Lily the whole time, you gotta tell Henry about what's going on between me and you. And then, she's pregnant with Henry's baby, And, Henry already has the suspicions that Lily has been seeing Davis, but then, Davis is saying, like, you can't live like this. I mean, you can't do this all the time. You gotta tell him about me and you. And then gets to a point where the robot William that lives in the attic, I forgot what happens. Not forgot, but like, I'm trying to say this right. Well, I'll just say it started to control the house. The whole house is all like voice activated too. Everything's voice activated, and they live in and they describe the house as like a big Victorian house, and they live kind of in a suburban neighborhood too. But what happens is that William kind of gets out in a way in the house, and then Davis disappears because he's trying to talk to Henry and shut down William, and then you find out that the whole time, like, the robot William, he got shut down, but now he might be controlling the house. And then William, the robot, did not like. He kept calling Henry, the main character, they kept calling him brother, and then Henry was not liking that. But also, he was afraid that an AI is already calling me. Oh crap! Hold on. Hang on, I'll continue the story. Let me just catch this guy. So then the house is going crazy. Henry's also built like a little robot dog and has this little robot wizard that bikes around the house. It's a toy wizard, and they've got the whole thing. They got a room for the baby too, and then like, a room for the baby as well. The baby isn't born yet. So what happens is, Davis actually gets killed in the house. From what I read, he's trying to escape because he gets attacked by William, and then like he gets found wrapped in like tarp, and then like Henry's trying to help him, but then like Davis gets scared of Henry. Davis tries to run out of the house, and then like when he tries to get out of the house, everything's automated, so one of the doors, he gets stuck in between it, and it's like crushing him, and then like it says in the book that it kind of decapitates Davis. And then Lily's friend Paige, the girl, she's supposed to be like a funny friend, right? She gets killed by when she's trying to find Davis and Henry. She gets killed by like going to the bathroom, and then she gets I forget how she gets locked into the shower, but the water turns on and temperature keeps rising and rising and rising and rising. And then she's like, you know, she's basically gets burned to death, right? So then in the story, what happens is that Lily is trying to she gets trapped in the basement, and then like I forgot what is it, they, you know, some houses have gases, right? So the house turns on the gas and closes all the windows in the basement. She's stuck in there, and you know, because the house is automated and sealed, you know, there's no air, fresh air coming in, so she's like suffocating, and you know, she's pregnant too. So then William, because he's agoraphobic, he tries to find a way. That made me laugh. Some houses have gases. Well, like, so, you know, William, what Henry has to do, he has to get out of the house and bash the window out, the basement window open from outside. But, you know, because he's agoraphobic, he's going out there. And he's like, in the book, they're saying he's going out there. But then his agoraphobia is kicking in, that he's starting to get dizzy, he's starting to pass out, he can't think straight, he's starting to hyperventilate and everything. But he manages to get the window open, and all the gas is coming out. It's, you know, it's coming out of the house and everything, you know, it's coming out from the basement. You know, she's able to breathe well, but, you know, she's getting exhausted because she nearly suffocated, you know. So then, when that's all done, Henry is trying to go back to the basement. He's starting to accept that, you know what? My wife cheated on me. Yes, we're having a baby, but I can understand. She can't really live like this anymore. I get it. There's nothing else I can really do, you know. But I just need to keep her safe for her and the baby's sake, you know. So then she's in the basement waiting for Henry to open the door, try to get the door unlocked, you know. But then she hears the dryer. It's open, right? When the dryer's open, she opens the dryer and she finds Davis's head all like burnt, but blood coming out, but the blood is dry because it's been in the dryer. And she's like screaming, she's freaking out, and she finds like oh yeah, she had a box cutter that she was kind of using as a weapon a bit. And then she's like freaking out. But she's like, yeah, she's freaking out. And Henry finally gets the door open. And then she tells Henry, she says to Henry, "You did this, you killed him." And he's like, "No, that wasn't me. It was William." And she's trying to explain what William is. It's like, it's an AI, but he also believes that because the house is also could be, he's starting to believe that there are greater forces than just technology, that he thinks a demon was possessing William the robot. But what really happened is that, this is a crazy twist that I read, when she was threatening Henry, she actually manages to slice his face. Instead of blood coming out, the skin just comes off, it says in the book. And it's like, what's under it is just rubber. It's like kind of like a little metal joint. And you find out that she tells Henry the truth that Davis has been trying to tell Lily the whole time, is that Henry is actually a robot. And the baby is actually Davis's. When she created Henry, she created Henry. She's actually the robot engineer. But when she created Henry, the AI of Henry, it evolved so fast that he created this whole thing, that he was married to Lily. He has parents. He's been bullied in high school. He graduated in engineering for science and everything. He created his whole life that he actually thinks it's real. And then her wanting to experiment, she played along with it. She just played along with the whole thing. It's made it seem like they were actually married. The Megan is happening. So what happened is that like she told him that like I've been like you're.
Oh, yeah.
She said
Yeah.
Oh, let me see this part first. I like this part.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
So then she tells him that the life you think was real was never real. It's something that your AI intelligence just made the whole thing of it and actually believed that it was real, that you believe that I'm your wife, but in reality I'm not your wife. I've just played along with it. He goes like, but those times you so what about those nights we go to sleep? She goes, I just shut you down and I leave this house. I own this whole house. It's my own laboratory, she said. The whole Victorian house. It's her own lab. And then like he asked her, how long you'd shut me down for? And she'd say, I'd be gone for 3 weeks. Sometimes 3 weeks. A week to 3 weeks max, But then I'd come back just to see how far your intelligence have gone. So it wasn't that he was agoraphobic, that he was only far enough. He couldn't leave the house that far. No matter, he only could leave a certain distance. So when he got out, his battery was like draining. His body was just shutting down. He wasn't agoraphobic. He's just shutting down. So then he'd wondered, then what about William? So are you saying that you created? He asked Lily. Like, wait, Lily, so you created William too? She's like, no, you created William. You yourself, Henry, you made William yourself. She said, that's why I kept going along with this, because you and AI created another AI. Which was amazing. And she's like, the only difference is that she said, like, your AI is actually came out a good person, but William's AI, like you said, they kind of just grow their own intelligence. He just turned out to be evil, William. And then it got to a point where Henry starts freaking out. He starts like, because he's an AI with feelings, he starts to freak out. He starts to go towards Lily, saying like, this can't be, I have to be your husband. But then that's why she blames Henry for killing her actual husband, Davis, because he created William. In a way, he killed Davis, the husband. So then she like stabs. She hugs Henry just to comfort him, but then she lifts up his shirt and then finds where the power source is. And she like stabs the power source with the box cutter, right? And then like as soon as like he's bleeding out, like oil or something, or battery fluid. They said something. He was bleeding out whatever was keeping him alive. And then when he's bleeding out, he finds the robot body of William, and then he whispers to William, said like he's like, I'll be with you, brother. He actually accepts that, oh, William's actually my brother. I created William. We're brothers. And then what happens is that the lights shut off in the house. And when it shuts off, she uses her phone as a light. And then Henry is standing up, and she has the phone in his face. That's what it says in the book. And he's just smiling really hard, but his eyes are different color now. And then like they said, like in the book, like Henry just puts his hands on Lily's stomach because she's pregnant. He's like squeezing, but he's just squeezing through. Sounds like he's about to kill her and the baby, but then he stops. And then she realizes it's not Henry anymore. It's William. William's transferred his AI into Henry's body, and then because he could do that, now that his AI was transferred, his program won't. He's not programmed to shut down when he leaves the house. So then what he does is that he keeps Lily in the house, You know, he locks her in, and then she asks him, like, "Where are you going?" She's like, you can't keep me in here." He goes like, and then William says to her, like, "Oh, I just need to go. I just need to look out. I just need." What did he say? Well, he needs to. He says he just like, "I have to check out some things. You know, I'll be back in a few weeks." That's what he tells her. And then, so in the book though, it's Halloween, so Henry's body is like from the knife, and because like, well, I think William like switched some, like had fused with some parts with Henry too, because now Henry is technically dead. Now it's William in Henry's body, and he's walking very weird, and it's Halloween, and then all the kids and all the adults see him, and they're like, "Oh, look at his costume," you know. They're like, "Oh, look at his costume. Look at that." It's like, "Wow, look at that." And then some kid asks, like, "Hey, mister, what are you supposed to be?" He's like, "Oh, I'm William, but let me show you what I really am." And then the book just ends. Yeah. So basically what Lily was trying to say, Henry's AI was actually a good AI, but the William, the one that Henry built, that AI actually turned out to be evil. So yeah. But then she blames Henry for her husband's death because of William. Get what I mean? Get what I mean? But that twist was crazy, that Henry wasn't agoraphobic. Henry's actually a robot who was programmed to not ever leave the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like Henry believed that he was human. He actually believed he had his own life and everything before he met Lily. So Lily just played along with it. And her husband, Davis, her actual husband, was trying to tell her, convince her, you gotta stop this. This is really bad. It sounds like it's getting out of hand, you know.
Mario, Mario, Mario.
Oh, I forgot I could do that.
Mario. Mario?
I recommend the read. Good read. I recommend that. It's so weird for me that I'm reading books now. I've always wondered, like, you know, when certain people don't do things in life and then they start doing it, it's like a whole, it becomes like fascinating. Like, I mean, I started reading because I was door dashing and I didn't want to keep being on my phone, so I thought I'd bring my 3DS. But the problem was that I couldn't bring my 3DS all the time either, so then I just started to like read books while waiting for an order to come in. And then what was it? Yeah, then that's how I just started reading more. What was I reading? Oh, I was reading I had the book of Dracula. I had Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I bought that book years ago, but I never really actually read it. And I just started bringing it with me every time I did DoorDash. This is before I got the job that I have now. And I just started reading that. Man, and now I just, out of nowhere, I just wanted to, not out of nowhere, but then I just got more interested in just reading more books. What the hell? Oh, what is that? I've never seen that. Get off me. Oh, that was a snake. Wait, does that mean I'm poisoned? I bought the Interview of the Vampire book at in New Orleans last year. At a plantation that was part of a tour, and they had their own souvenir shop. And I bought Interview of the Vampire because I love the movie. But the book is pretty different too. But I like both the movie and the book. But I remember like I brought that book with me to the DMV, and I was reading it, and I was there for hours, and I got through half that whole book because I was at the DMV for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. I wish that happened in real life, you know. You flash a light at something and turn the money. But then would that count as killing the creature? Hmm. Well, right now I'm reading, what's her name? Saraya, the wrestler. She was Paige in WWE. I'm reading her book right now. Hell in Boots. I think the saddest book I've read, though, was, The Traveling Cat Chronicles. That was, wow. That had a twist, too. So the Traveling Cat Chronicles is about it's told through the point of view of a cat. This makes me want to get my cat and bring him in my room now, but he's probably downstairs causing a ruckus on his own. Like, this book was so sad that, like, I almost teared up at work when I was reading it. I was like, you know, let me finish this at home. But, like, the whole story is about this, takes place in Japan. And the cat, I forgot his name. I think it was like 7 in Japanese. I'll just call him 7. He gets, adopted by someone, because he gets hit by a car. He gets hit by a car, and then the guy who saw it happen adopts him, like takes care of him. Didn't really adopt him, but he was just taking care of him at first. And then the cat the whole time is going like, "This is great. I'm glad you're doing this for me, but you know when you're done, I'm leaving." You know, I like my independence. I like living on the street. That's what the cat really says. Okay, so the cat, yeah, he gets adopted. The whole time he's saying the owner's like taking care of him. The owner is taking care of him. Well, not the owner, yeah, taking care of him, feeding him, like, you know, bandaging him up because he had like a broken leg. And then the cat is going like, you know, the cat is being like just being sassy, like. I don't like when people are like this with me, but you know, this is fine. I'll let you do this because it looks like it's making you happy, you know. And then when the cat is all healed up, the guy is actually opens the door and saying like, "All right, you know, it looks like you're pretty healed up now. You can go if you want." And the cat is trying to walk out, saying like, "Yeah, you know, I'll go. Thanks a lot. You know, you've been a great help, but you know, my life is outside of this apartment." And the cat is slowly trying to walk away. And he goes like, "But it looks like you need a friend. So maybe, you know, maybe I'll live here. I'll stay with you." So then, you know, basically that owner realizes like the cat doesn't want to leave. So he adopts the cat. I think he calls him, yeah, 7. And then, so the whole time, the owner is traveling through Japan. And he's meeting up old friends, and you're learning about these friends, about why the cat doesn't understand why he's like visiting these people, but he's going with them anyways. And the cat is like amazed about all the things he's seeing. Like he goes to a beach for the first time, and he thinks it's cool at first until he touches the water, and then he runs back to their van that they're driving in, and he says to the owner, "Don't ever bring me to a place like this ever again." Yeah. So the story is that yeah, so they're traveling to all these old friends' house, and he's trying. Oh, he's the owner's trying to give away 7 too. He's trying to have someone to watch over 7, and 7 is like, he meets this dog, and he's like, this. They kind of become enemies, but then they're trying to be friends too. But then he also meets the cat of this guy who's a farmer. He meets the dog and the cat. He goes like he meets the cat, and he's worried that this cat cannot hunt on its own, so he wants to teach this cat how to hunt, even though like, you know, the cat lives on a farm. But also he likes this farmer's house because like he has an old TV. You know how this book takes place during now. You know how TVs are like flat screens now. The owner has the old the CRT TV, the big ones, and he lays on top of it because the TV's on. He's like, the cat is like, wait, what is this box? It's like the TV you have, but it's bigger and it's warmer. Anyway, so for some reason the owner is trying to find a cat a new place to live, but the cat likes the place he's going, but then he's like, the cat, if I remember, the cat would when the guy is about to leave, the cat would run back to the owner, and then like because he wouldn't like something about like the farmer, he didn't like the dog. Him and the dog became enemies. But anyways, in the book, the cat's explaining the cherry blossoms, this field he saw and everything, and like the cat ran into the field that he was brought to. It was like a giant purple lavender flower field, and when he ran off, the owner got scared, thinking that the cat just disappeared. But then Seven was like, don't worry, I'm still here. And like, he had to pop out and order. He's like, and then he was wondering like why the owner was so scared that he was gone. Also, the backstory about the owner when, I can't really remember too much. I know the owner had like for the owner, his story is that when he was a kid, he wanted a cat, but his parents wouldn't let him. But he found a cat that looked just like Seven when he was a kid, and him and his best friend would take care of that cat. And one day, the main character, the owner, he didn't come to school, or he did go to school. No, he went to school, but then he got bad news, and then like, the owner's friend was wondering what happened, and they found out that his parents, the main character, died in a car accident. That was terrible. I'm gonna read that part. Both his parents got killed in an accident. And then like the main character had to live with his aunt, had to move in with his aunt. And throughout the story, the friend was trying to take care of that cat. I forgot, but then I'll fast forward back to the owner. So now the owner is driving around with this cat. That's why he named him Seven, because it was looked just like the cat that he was taking care of with his best friend when he was a kid. So then what happened? So the owner's driving, and you find out he's going to his aunt's house. And the whole time you're wondering, like, why is he trying to give away this cat? Why is he trying to find someone to take care of the cat? And then you find out you're kind of getting subtle hints, but like the aunt is like talking to the main character. This is what the cat witnesses, and she's asking the aunt, hey, will you take my cat, like yada 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 while I'm gone? And she goes like, she's like starting to cry, and then she starts like, I think she starts crying in the book, and then the cat, and then damn, it's starting to get me. And then you find out like the reason why he's trying to find someone to watch the cat is because he has to stay in the hospital for a few months because he has to go through chemo. The main owner. Woo! Damn. He has to go through chemo. The cat doesn't know what's happening, but the aunt she's happy to take the cat, but she just doesn't know how to take care of a cat. It's like watching a DreamWorks Pixar movie. It's like watching the Mario movies. Yeah. Okay, so the aunt takes the cat, And then the owner is leaving. He takes his things with him too, and he tells the cat, you know, he says to the cat, I'll see you later, okay? And then like Seven's very confused, like wait, you're actually leaving me here? And then Seven like kind of like follows where he goes, his aunt, because you know she drives off, and then Seven kind of sneaks out the house, and the whole time Seven is going like, he's like going, I like your aunt, but you're with me, man. We're supposed to be this till the end. What's going on? Why are you just leaving me here, you know? And then when, you know, there's like a moment where the main character is in chemo, he goes to walk around the yard of the hospital, because like Seven finds where the hospital he's at, and then I think from what I remember, this is cool because I'm doing this from the top of my head, and I've read this book last year. The main character is walking through the garden of the hospital, and then he sees Seven in the bushes, and then Seven like runs up to him, and he's like wondering, like, Seven, like, how'd you get here? What are you doing here? And then, like, the aunt is freaking out because she thought she lost the cat. You know, she's freaking out, and then like she gets a call saying like, oh, you know, I think is what happened. I'm not sure. I might have gotten it wrong. But I know in the book, like, you know, she thought, the aunt thought she lost the cat, and then just to find out that Seven snuck out to go where his owner is. Yeah. And the whole time, like, Seven kind of like wants to visit his owner, like every time there's visiting time, and then it gets to a point where Seven realizes that his owner didn't come, you know, was like, I think, damn, where's the book? I'm gonna look this up. I couldn't read this at work. I was like, I need to read this at home. I can't. I'm about to tear up, you know. Oh, it's considered a light novel. Huh. I'm putting cliff notes. Oh, the main character's name's Satoru. Satoru. What's the cat's name? The cat. Oh, the cat was named Nana. His tail looked like a 7. That's what he said. Or, well, anyways, Nana the cat. What happens at the end? I know, like, the owner say he actually eventually passes away. He actually passes away, but like, the cat got to lay down with him while he was passing. And then I remember at the end of the book, like, you're kind of seeing life go by with the cat, with the aunt, and then the cat eventually just goes to that lavender field with the aunt, and he just eventually passes away too. Yeah. Because the cat gets really old, because years go by. And years will go by, the cat's remembering all the places he's been to. Yeah. I know, that made me depressed again. That made me sad, dude. I'm going to continue playing this. Alright. Other books I've been reading.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Jericho's book got kind of crazy too. I read his book. Yeah, I can't remember, but I did read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't remember too much of that book. I kind of want to read all the Harry Potter books now. Well, the cool thing, what I learned about in Interview with the Vampire, I kind of explained why. One of the vampires explains about in the book Interview with the Vampire, I learned something interesting. Maybe it made me wonder about vampires too. About, like, one of the characters. What was his name? What was Antonio Banderas' character name in there? He was Armand. That's right. the character Armand, he talks about like there's there's many vampires in the world, but a lot of them die out. Why do you think there's not so many of them though? When vampires can live for a very long time, can be immortal. But he says, but why do you think so many of them like just die out? And not because they get killed or hunted down, but he says vampires, they don't try to move on. You're just saying they don't try. They get stuck in their ways. So he said that's why some vampires don't make it through life. They don't make it long enough. He's saying that vampires don't try to adapt when the world is changing. And that kind of resonated with me, you know. He's saying that vampires tend to get stuck in their ways. And that explains why at the end of the movie and the book, Lestat looks like that, like all old and decrepit because he's too scared of how the world is changing. But that's why I like the ending better for the movie than the book. When they show Lestat in the end, where he comes out of the car, and he's like, he's like, was it? I assume I need no introduction. And then he bites Christian Slater's neck, and then he's driving the car, Lestat's, and he's listening to Guns N' Roses' "Sympathy for the Devil," and then he's hearing Louis' like interview tape. He's like, and Lestat goes like, he's like, "Are you listening to this?" Or he's like, "Are you hearing this? I've had to listen to this for centuries," you know. And that's when Lestat goes, you know, "I will tell you." He's like, "I will give you the gift that, I will give you the choice that I never had." You know, I'm giving you a gift, a choice that I never had, basically. Because apparently Lestat didn't have the choice to become a vampire, but Louis did. I got a chainsaw. Oh, I read this one book. Now, this one book was my favorite. This is a horror book. It's very American Psycho-ish. The book is called... I think after I explain this book, I'm going to call it a night. But this book was called May Fly. The girl's name is May. Her last name is, what was her name? I really enjoyed this book, maybe because I'm just into maybe because the main character is a girl, and maybe I'm just into like my crazy woman, So this story is called, this book I read, I bought this on a whim, and I was so happy I bought it on a whim. It's called May Fly. It's about this girl. It's like American Psycho. It's about this girl who lives in L.A. and she works. They don't say it in the book. She works as a Disney princess. So the book is about like how she, it's kind of like American Psycho, how she views the world. She loves the whole, like, there's a part of LA that she really enjoys. So she works as a Disney princess. She also is into, what was Maeve? What was her interest? In the book, they don't explain, they don't really say who she plays, but you already know. She's supposed to be Elsa, and her best friend's supposed to be, what's Elsa's sister's name in Frozen? They just describe it, that she's supposed to be like this, Anna. They just describe what princess they're supposed to be. They don't really say they're at Disneyland either, but because, copyright stuff, you don't want to get sued. We obviously know the way they explain it. Oh, they're supposed to be, oh yeah, because she's the ice princess and the sister too. But she has all this whole disturbing take on Los Angeles and her job too. where let me see. What is it? I'm trying to look at like Cliff Notes. Wait, a movie? No. Oh, okay, there's no movie. Cool. Oh yeah, so in the book, okay, I'm remembering now. So in the book, she really looks up to her grandma, because her grandma used to be like an actress from the 1940s, like a Marilyn Monroe type, you know. And then she leaves her house where she lived with her mom and dad because she couldn't get along with them anymore. And then she finds out that she has a grandmother that they never told her about, and then she ends up moving in with that grandma, and the grandma takes her in, teaches her about what part of LA do they live in? What part of LA is she? Oh, she lives on the Sunset Strip of LA. And she looks at LA, that part of LA, like her home now. Like, you know, she's very. She has this whole like elitist look about the Sunset Strip, about the strip, you know. Like, she thinks nobody gets it, you know, but her and her grandmother. So now years go by after, you know, she's working as a Disney princess and everything. And then her grandmother is sick. She's, well, not just sick, but she's dying because she's really old now. And it gets to a point where her caretaker for her aunt wants to pull the plug because there's no going back. You know, she's dying. Her kidneys have failed. And you know, like Maeve really loves her aunt. You know, she thinks that's what's keeping her going in life is her aunt, and just because like not her aunt, her grandma. She really loves her grandma because she's the one that taught her about LA, and because like her grandma in the book, she describes that when her grandma was young, she looked like Maeve. You know, they look the same. So I gotta save you! So then it gets to a point where, now, granted, I forgot to mention that they live in a really big, you know, a big house on top of the strip. You know, one of those, like, rich, like, celebrity house kind of way, from what is described. And so then, you know, her nurse wants to pull the plug. Her nurse doesn't want to do it anymore, too. But she's also saying that there's nothing, she's like, there's not more I can do. Your grandma's going to die. And then like Maeve freaking out, you know, she can't. This is the one woman who's actually taught her about, you know, life in LA and just how to enjoy the, you know, just to enjoy the pleasures of, you know, how to live glamorously in a way, but how to live the LA lifestyle. A woman she's looked up to, you know. So then, what is it? Oh, the nurse is already telling the hospital to, like, we're gonna, you know, we have to bring her in. We're gonna, not bring her in, but we're gonna pull the plug. And then Maeve, she starts to, how do I do this shit again? Oh, I was supposed to hold A? Okay. Alright, cool. So then, like, Maeve, she brings, she wants to talk to the nurse in her grandmother's cellar, right? And then she closes the door. She closes the door behind her, and then the nurse is trying to talk to Maeve, like, this, we've got to do this. She's not gonna make it. And Maeve, she has like a prop of a pike. What do they call that in? What was it? Oh, she has a mace, a prop that her grandmother used from her movie days, and she hits the nurse with it again and again and again and again, because she really feels the nurse is just trying to kill her grandmother now at this point. But the nurse is only trying to do what's right, you know. It's like, what can you do? And she's killing her. She's bashing her head in, you know. And then what she does, because Maeve has been studying all these things about serial killers too, you know, she, what is it, she did what Jeffrey Dahmer did. She melted down, she like melted down her flesh and everything with, you know, with acid and all that stuff. She knew how to do all that. And then now the book takes place close to Halloween. Then she makes skeleton decorations out of her bones. And then when people come by, they go like, you know, when they look at her Halloween decorations and see the bones too, they're like, that looks really good. Wow, that's amazing. You know. And there's a point where too where the you know, because the nurse has been missing for a few days now, and the cops come to her house. They questioned her. They're asking her, like, they said the nurse was you know, the caretaker was last seen here. They want to know this and that. Do you know what happened to her afterwards? You know, no, and she just left after that. That's the last time I saw her. And then the cop is looking at the bones. And in the book, he's going like, "Can I ask you something? Yeah. How did you make those? Those are really good." And she's like, "Oh, I just, you know, I just really love Halloween." You know. I think that's what I love about the book is Halloween, you know. And then, also in the book, she meets her best friend. Let's call her Anna. Best friend is Anna. Supposedly like Frozen, you know. Her best friend's brother, I just saw the name, Gideon, is coming to LA. He's moving into LA because he's part of a hockey team that's in LA. And then, she kind of gets close with Gideon but first she doesn't like Gideon because he's like a transplant, like you know how we are with SF transplants, you know, they're like, oh, you're just, you know, he's kind of a transplant, you know. He's like a top hockey player, but she doesn't care about that. She's like, you're moving into my town. Hello? Get out of here. We don't want you here. But you know, she kind of gets to know him, and she finds out like, oh, they're into a lot of the same things. You know, like all these horror stuff. They're in Halloween and everything. They're into a lot of the same things. At the same time, she's worried about her friend Anna because her friend Anna's trying to become an actress, and she's been dating this agent. The thing is, though, this agent has been very, like, how do I say this? Like low key, kind of like abusive towards her. You know, like, cause she would show up with like a bruise around her body, and she would never remember how she got that bruise. Cause like Maeve already has suspicions that her agent has been like, drugging her just to sleep with her. But this agent keeps promising her like these acting gigs, So Maeve is already like protective over Anna throughout the whole book. So it gets to a point too, also that their boss doesn't like her and Anna, Maeve and Anna, because just because of like how good they are at their job, but also just because their boss talks a lot of shit to them too, but they always talk shit back. But they do get the most customers because they're Elsa and Anna. And so her boss does not like her and Anna at all. Like, she's always trying to find a way to get them fired, but like, because sometimes they show up like kind of hungover, or they show up like Anna shows up like she's like doing, she's sniffing stuff into her nose on the job just to stay awake, Oh! So she's sniffing on the job, but the boss can never prove it. But they're so good at their jobs, they get the most customers, they get the most attention from children, because that's what counts when you're a Disney princess. You get the most. That's what they're saying in the book. If you get the most attention, if you're Elsa and Anna and you're getting the most attention, that means you're doing a good job as your character, playing your character, and they're really good at it. So then, in the book, Maeve and Anna's brother, Gideon, they get really close. They find out they love a lot of the same things. He knows a lot of the stuff she likes, music and everything, horror movies, all this stuff. And he's one of the top hockey players in the LA team right now that got hired. He even tells a story about like how he had a best friend that I'll say this, I don't want to get flagged again on TikTok, that self-deletes himself. He said that when they were teenagers, like he said he watched his friend jump off the bridge, and then like he tried to stop him, but it was too late. But then in the book, right, so they're getting close. Anna and Maeve and Gideon, they're getting close now. They're hanging out a lot. I mean, they're hanging out a lot. Like, woo, spicy a lot. Like the book, it's spicy. They get a lot of details of the spiciness of their relationship. I forgot to mention how they run into each other again when they actually started hanging out. Is that she goes to this hotel, and this guy pays her just to like, I forgot. This guy pays her at a hotel. He's like an executive or something. Like, I think he's like a producer or some kind of like agent. Pays her just to like, I guess, shower. I forgot. Shower with him. They shower together. They hang out. Basically, those things, right? And then she sees Gideon at the hotel too. The same hotel. This is like a high-end hotel too. Same hotel with a model, and he tells her like, they're just hanging out. He's not really into her like that, but she's like, "This model's really hot though. Are you sure?" It's like, And then so back to where I was saying, they start to get to know each other. How they're into a lot of the same stuff. He was saying the model's probably only hanging out because he's a top hockey player. How's my connection? So then, they're starting to get to know each other. Okay, now we're in the spicy parts. One day they're at the Disney park. That's supposed to be not. It's Disneyland, of course, but they have those nights in Disneyland where it's like for adults at night. So her and Gideon go to one of these, and they sneak around, and they actually what can I say? They engage in like this in one of the Disney tunnels. But it's dark, no one can see it. But they engage publicly. No one can see it though. So what happens later on, her boss actually saw them do it, but she didn't say anything at that point. But she took pictures and she showed it to her boss, the one that runs the Disney princesses. Got her fired. Got her fired for it. So then, Maeve, it's the only job she has that she loves. She loves being a Disney princess. She goes nuts. She starts tearing up her house. Well, parts not her grandmother's room, of course, because her grandma's in there. She starts tearing up her house, and then she actually finds the American Psycho book that she's been reading, and then she gets like these thoughts where she goes back to her job to try to get her job back. Well, she offers Aurora. No, she knows that Aurora was also sleeping with was sleeping with her boss. We'll say Mickey. Aurora was sleeping with Mickey. So basically, her boss, Aurora, she'd been trying to get Maeve fired, but she doesn't have real power over them unless her boss, she tells their boss, Mickey, So then, Mickey, she found the photos. I mean, she took photos of Maeve and her boyfriend, Gideon. Showed it to Mickey. She got fired. Then she, tore up her house. She got real angry. Also, because she needs the money to keep her grandmother alive. She literally in the book, she looks up what to do on Google to keep her grandma still have her alive, even though she's gonna die because she's really sick. She's in a coma. She's comatose too, and she's Googling WebMD and all these other things, so what to give her to keep her alive, because she doesn't want her to go, because she really feels that if she goes, that everything that she is gone. So anyways, back to her boss. She finds a way to medicine them, and then she drives her boss, and she drives Aurora and Mickey back to her house, and she's just talking about music the whole time, which is pretty cool in my opinion, because I would do that too. I used to do that a lot, just talk about music with random people. Anyways, actually I still do that. So they're driving, they've been kind of sniffing the chloroform that knocked them out or some whatever. They're half awake but half knocked out, but they hear everything she's saying, and it gets to a point where she kind of drags them to her basement, and Mickey is trying to crawl out. He can't move. That's how much medicine he's been ingested with. And then she with a knife just like that. And then she ties up Aurora into her grandmother's cellar. And then how does she kill her? This one was crazy. Oh, okay, I remember now. I kind of remember. Well, I'll just say how she does it, right? She has a pipe, right? And she gives this whole speech about how much she loved that job to her supervisor. I did that job better than anybody else. It was the one thing that kept her, that let her be a princess, but also because it was the one thing that she gets to hang out with kids, but it was also because she got to be a princess.
Wow!
She just liked being a princess, as she was saying, and she's wearing the dress in the book, and it's covered, in red paint, I'll say red paint because TikTok's flagging me for all these things. I'm surprised TikTok they really are listening there. I'm amazed. So, if I remember in the book, hang on, I forgot in the book. I think her grandmother was like a bunny too. You know, for Hugh Hefner, it's magazines. She loved her grandma. She loved that her grandma was part of that lifestyle. She loved that her grandma taught her that lifestyle. You know, but she also learned that her grandma was empowering and knew how to take care of herself too, because you know, being a female at that time. Oh, that's why she freaks out. She kills her. I'm sorry, deletes her boss because you know, being a Disney princess was her dream job. It was her dream job in the book. It was her career, but how she does it is that she takes a pipe, right? She has her boss tied up, and her boss is like, kind of, you know, exposed, and she has a pipe, right? I might be explaining this wrong, or right. I don't know. She takes a pipe and she has acid, and she drives it into her. Hold on, this part is gross. Yeah, I'm gonna read it out. I'll read it out. Let me look for that. Okay, here it is. Okay. This is what Maeve says. But the world has other plans for us, and we all have to roll with the punches. We are what we are, and we... Oh, sorry. And we just have to. I throw my head back and sing. She starts singing Let It Go. She takes another wine bottle, and she smashes it into the rack right above Liz's head. That's her boss's name, Liz. Liz screams. And then Maeve reaches for the pipe and the acid, singing the song Let It Go, letting the words flow through, in and out of her. She pauses in front of Liz, affected by the song, moved as nearly brought to tears. And she goes, "One last thing I say," and I bend down and tuck her hair behind her human ears, adjust her mouse ears. Oh, she's wearing mouse ears too. So she looks extra pretty. I glance to the pipe and acid, and then back to her to make sure she understands exactly what I plan to do. Liz shakes her head and cries. A snot bubble forms in her nose. "We're gonna use a mouse, Liz," I say, and watch her face take this in. Horror in truest form. She pisses her. Oh. She tries to push back and struggle free. I'll explain this part, and I'll just explain to you how the book ends. She has Liz tied up. I guess she's like she's like tied up, laying down like this, you know. I might be explaining this part wrong, but I know she's tied up. And she has a pipe, right? And she's going to put the pipe where where the baby comes out of, right? And then also Maeve, she has a mouse, and she's gonna put the mouse in that pipe. She has a couple mouses. Yeah, she lost her dream job, you know, and she fired her, and Maeve wanted revenge. Yeah. Oh Lord. Okay, I'll tell you this other part too. Later on that night, Maeve goes to a party that her friend Anna was going to, that Anna invited her to. Anna, and you know, Anna loves her brother and everything. She does. I forgot, why does she get mad at Maeve? No, but first, Maeve finds Anna's agent, the one I told you about, the one that's been like giving her medicine and, you know, doing not great things to her. It's Maeve's best friend. So Maeve takes it upon herself to, you know, to throw herself at Anna's manager. And Anna's manager is surprised. And Anna's manager wants to give her, you know, a drink with some medicine in it. And Maeve goes, I don't drink. Oh, Maeve goes, I'm not really, I've already had enough drinks, but let's go to the bathroom. I have some more things to give. You know, basically, Anna's manager is also like her boyfriend, but her boyfriend's creep. You know, so this manager tries to give somebody else medicine, but Maeve catches it, and then Maeve tries to, you know, throw herself at the manager. So they go to the bathroom, and then she ties him up, thinking that, oh, this is getting a little, you know, you know. But then she takes the medicine and forces him to take it, you know, like shoving it in his mouth. And then she takes the spoon that's for, you know, this thing, and she shoves it in, she shoves it into the manager's eyes and scoops out his, you know, pops it out. She pops out the eye. And as she pops out the eye, she shows it to him. And then I remember in the book, she describes it by, she licks it like that, and she like bites it. Yeah. And then she just leaves him in there, tied up with his eye just gone. I think she deletes him too, you know. And then like I think, why does yeah, she did that because she was, you know, I mean, it's bad, but at the same time she's trying to save her friend, you know, and save another girl's life. But at the same time, it's like, wow. You know, I forgot, her and Anna get into a fight. It had something to do with her brother. You know, I think, oh, they fight because she thinks that Maeve is trying to keep her, you know, in a low spot, trying to keep her at her level when that's not the truth. You know, she's just trying to, because she hears that Maeve went to the bathroom with her creepo, grapes boyfriend. And she thinks that Maeve was, you know, sleeping with him, when in reality she was just, you know, scooping the eyeball and deleting him, you know. So then, you know, Maeve and Gideon, before all this, they got into a fight too about like, oh, they don't get into a fight. It's more like, I forgot what happens there, but I just remember Gideon comforts Maeve, and then Maeve is like, they go back to her place. You know, they're just drinking. You know, they're about to, you know, get comfortable again with each other. But then she forgets that she didn't lock the cellar door. So then they go, she's trying to find him. Gideon's not anywhere in the house. And then she goes down to the basement, and then she already knows that he's down there, and she has that prop mace again. And then she's like, he finds her boss's body, just a lot of I'll say her confetti hanging out, and there's mice everywhere. There's a mouse on the floor, you know, and Gideon's just staring. In the book, is that he's staring, and then like Maeve is like bawling, crying, you know, and Gideon turns around, and then she's like, you weren't supposed to know about this. And then Gideon goes like, wait, hold on a second, there's something I need to tell you. And then like she goes, it's too late, and then she starts attacking him. She starts hitting him in the head, and he's trying to say something about his friend. She starts deleting him. But then after it was over, she finds a note, something he was trying to tell her, that the truth about what really happened to his friend. And what really happened to his friend is that he deleted his friend. And that's how the book ends, is that she's all alone now. Her grandmother's probably already on the verge of that. She's deleted her nurse. There's other people she's deleted, but she's deleted her boss. Her friendship's over. She deleted her friend's creepo manager, and now she's deleted the one person that was just like her. She deleted him out of panic and rage, but also because she didn't want to get caught. But then she didn't realize that the one she was in love with was just like her. Yeah, that's what happened. And that was this book that I read. The current book that I am reading is the former WWE superstar Saraya Paige. Saraya, formerly known as Paige from WWE. Reading her book. And then I have Karrion Kross's book, which is called Life is Fighting. He's also a wrestler, just talking about his life and his philosophies. And I have Ozzy Osbourne's book. But yeah, I need to find a new horror book to read. Yeah. There's one book I do have. It's called The Lady with the Black Teeth. It's it's about a haunted house in Japan. It was kind of whack. I don't remember much about it. That's how much I didn't like it. Give me the money! Oh, and I was reading the Code of the Bushido. Reading philosophies from samurais and strategies. I don't remember too much on that, which is kind of bad because some of that stuff was kind of cool to read. That book was kind of nice. Another one I'm reading about Saraya. She's talking about how the smells of the wrestling ring. Her little wrestling promotion with her family when she was a kid, with her mom and dad, and how she'll never get the smells of the ring and all the glue and everything. It's a happy smell to her. Oh, right now, though, I am currently reading this version of Spider-Man. This is interesting. I got this at a White Elephant, but in this universe, Uncle Ben is still alive, but Aunt May died. He's not Spider-Man yet, too. He's like a full-grown. He's an adult. He's married to Mary Jane. He's got 2 kids, May and Richard Parker. And his Uncle Ben works with J. Jonah Jameson. They're close friends. And in this one, he's not Spider-Man. Well, he's not Spider-Man yet, but then Iron Man, Tony Stark from another universe, gives him tells him who he's meant to be, and he gives him the radioactive spider. And I think nanomachine suit. I'm trying to remember how he got. I don't even know how he got that suit, but he gets bit by the spider and becomes Spider-Man, and he's trying to learn how to be Spider-Man. It's like a whole new origin story, but an origin story that already happened, but it's happening again, but in a different universe. And him and Green Goblin are friends. I mean, they were always him and Harry. Harry Osborn's already Green Goblin, but he's a good guy too. But he's he's already the Green Goblin. It's over! Oh wait, it's not over? Oh, it is over. I'll say the Dracula book kind of surprised me. Because in the book, he's in the movie, other movies, they always portray him as trying to find his lost love too at the same time. In the book, he's just a straight up monster. That's all he is. They say they didn't give him the whole trying to find his lost love until years later. All right.
Mario.
Yeah, that's enough for me. Good night, everyone. Good night, people. Thanks for hearing me talk about books and play Luigi's Mansion.